Do you know someone by the name of Jeffrey Williams?
I heard of him. He's a rapper.
Okay. Do you know?
I know him. I don't know him as Jeffrey Williams. I know him as Young Thug.
All right. And when you say you know him as a rapper, have you ever spent time with this individual?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. When is the first time you recall, strike that, what do you refer to him as?
Young Thug.
Okay. When's the first time that you recall meeting Young Thug?
At the studio.
And roughly, about what year are we talking about?
Before I went to jail.
Which time?
Right. Before I went to the feds.
So before 2015. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yeah.
Can you identify him by article of clothing he is wearing?
Brown. With dread, sitting next to the bald head guy.
All right. Is anyone else on the other side of him?
We'll stipulate Mr. Williams to sit next to him.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. You said that you met at the studio. How did you meet him at the studio?
You're a friend?
What friend?
I really didn't meet him. I just saw him at the studio when I was with a friend.
What friend were you with?
And I asked him, can I take a picture?
What friend were you with when you saw him at the studio?
Doc.
Was it anyone else?
Huh?
Was there anyone else?
There's a lot of people there. I don't recall who all the people was.
Okay. Do you recall if Tick was present when you first met this Young Thug?
I can't recall.
You said that you met him at the studio. You asked to take a picture with him. You're right. I'm looping the questions. I can get to my next question. When you met him at the studio and you took a picture, did your friendship or relationship develop after that time that you met him in the studio?
What you mean?
Did you all develop a friendship?
Did we develop a friendship?
Yes.
My definition of a friendship is not just knowing somebody or knowing who somebody is.
Okay. Did you start hanging out with him?
I started going to the studio a lot.
Okay. Did you start hanging with him outside of the studio?
I have.
Okay. When you hung with him outside the studio, where type of places would you hang out with him at?
But most of the time, he liked to be in the studio.
Okay. My question is, when he was not in the studio and you hung out with him, where would you hang out with him at?
We used to do fun stuff, like go to like bowling alleys and stuff like that. He went to the kids' football game, I remember. I've been to the club with them. I've been on shows, I mean, I'm correct that.
You said on shows?
Yeah, like when I watch him perform.
All right. And the shows, the bowling alleys, the club, are we talking about in 2014, 2015, or some other time?
2014 only.
2014 only. In 2014, about how often would you see each other on a monthly basis?
I don't keep up with that type of stuff.
Okay. Did you see him a lot in 2014? Was it quite often? Were you always around? Or did you see him once in a blue moon?
Well, to know that he was a rapper and successful, I seen him a lot. To me, I think I saw him a lot.
Are you referencing like seeing him on television or being around him in person?
What you mean?
You just said, because he's a rapper, I saw him a lot.
Yeah, because you don't see rappers a lot. So,
and I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. When you're talking about seeing him, are you talking about physically being in his presence or seeing him like on television?
I knew people that be around him.
Okay.
And I used to see him a lot. Every time I saw him, I saw him.
All right.
I was happy to see him.
Besides seeing him in person, would you ever speak with him over the phone?
Meaning?
Did you ever talk to him? Let's first start old school. Pick up the phone, dial some numbers. Would you ever talk to him over the phone?
Have me and him had conversations?
Yes.
I can't recall if we did or did it.
Okay. Let me ask you FaceTime. Have you and Mr. Williams ever FaceTime with each other?
I can't recall.
You can't recall. Let me just ask you generally in 2014, with any of your friends, Shannon, Little D, Yak, or you said you didn't speak to Yak, would you FaceTime any of them?
Say that again.
Shannon and Little D, would you FaceTime them back in 2014?
I don't like FaceTime.
I know you don't like it. That's not my question.
You know what I'm saying? So most of the time I talk on the phone, I call regular.
Okay, but have you?
I don't recall talking on FaceTime.
You don't recall talking about FaceTime?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. And I don't. You have to ask that again because I ain't for sure what you're asking.
Sure. I'll ask you again. 2014, 2015, have you ever, I'll wait till you finish.
I'm tired.
You and I both. Okay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Back in 2014, have you ever FaceTimed with Little D? Ever? Back then?
Little D.
Little D.
How I supposed to remember that?
Do you recall ever FaceTiming with Little D?
I don't.
Okay. What about Shannon?
I don't.
Okay. What about the person you identify as Young Thug?
The person identified as who?
Young Thug.
I don't.
Okay. What about, you said no to Yak.
If I FaceTime with him, I probably screenshot it and post it on social media just to show people that I probably was on the phone. But I don't remember if I ever did have it.
Okay. Now you said that you would spend time with him, whether it's a studio or in other places. Were you close to Young Thug as you were Shannon and Little D?
That's not established under no foundation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you speak often with Young Thug back in 2014? Did you talk to him often?
Not that I recall.
Not that you recall.